How could Jimin suddenly vanish after Jungkook's controversial actions? And where was he last seen? The shocking news came from the world of K-pop entertainment, especially BTS fans who have been very close to Jimin. Just a few days ago, rumors first circulated about an incident involving Jungkook, the youngest member and golden magne who has been adored by millions of ARMY around the world. Unexpectedly, after the incident, Jimin was suddenly declared missing. The final location was found in a truly surprising place, a remote area on the outskirts of Seoul that is usually never expected as a destination for world celebrities. This news went viral in a matter of hours, causing a wave of concern, wild speculation, and heated debate among fans, the media, and even entertainment industry circles. What exactly did Jungkook do to make Jimin disappear? Is this just a purely dramatic story, or is there a dark truth that has been hidden by the agency? A number of new clues point to the professional and personal relationship between the two of them, a relationship that has always seemed intimate on stage. It turns out may harbor a dynamic that is much more complicated than fans can see. There are whispers that Jungkook did something unexpected, which then made Jimin shock until he decided to disappear temporarily. Speculation is growing. Is this the result of internal debate, contractual pressure from HYB's agency, or even family pressure that has never been revealed to the public? But what is most surprising? Jimin's last location was found not in the glamorous city center of Seoul, but in a fishing village on the outskirts of Incheon, a place where it is rare for people from among celebrities to visit, let alone a Jimin adored by millions of fans everywhere. What made Jimin go there? How did he get there without anyone knowing him? Meanwhile, Jungkook himself appeared to be silent, avoiding reporters' questions, and limited his social media posts to a vague portrait that only showed his silhouette behind the stage lights. All the question marks eventually piled up, creating a storm of emotion among fans who sensed that something very unusual was going on. Since BTS's debut in 2013, Jimin has become a figure who has always bewitched millions with his soft vocals, live dancing, and warm demeanor. But on May 25, 2025, just 3 days ago, his life seemed to be in flux. That afternoon, she was on a shooting schedule for a variety show in the Gangnam district. Our reliable sources mentioned that in the middle of the recording break, Jimin was seen talking seriously with Jungkook backstage. The conversation lasted for more than half an hour. Unfortunately, no other witnesses could give full details. After that, Jimin looked sad. His usually cheerful face turned pale, and in the evening, he did not attend the dinner that had been scheduled with the other members. The strangeness continued when the next morning, the management team realized that Jimin's personal cell phone could not be reached. Instagram stories uploads, which should regularly appear, have also shown no sign of updating since midnight. Fans began to notice something was wrong, especially when the agency issued a short statement. Jimin is not currently at the location he planned. We are trying to find clarity. The word seeking clarity sounds soft but full of pressure. At a time when many people are waiting for official news, the ARMY's social media platforms are filled with conspiracy theories, while the agency continues to urge the public to be patient waiting for more information. Recent news has linked the crucial incident to an act carried out by Jungkook. According to eyewitnesses on the set, Jungkook and Jimin had a heated backstage discussion on the same day. The exact reasons remain unclear. Some say Jungkook was angry that Jimin wouldn't follow the new choreography direction. Others say they were arguing over the allocation of vocal parts in a new song BTS will release next week. But the most widely circulated is the rumor that Jungkook did a secret reveal in front of the group's colleagues, like pointing out something that Jimin had been hiding to protect the group's image. They both need space, said a production crew member who asked to remain anonymous. But the situation is heating up out of control. Where does this source of information come from? Our reporters managed to confirm to several technical crews who were present on the day of the incident. They recounted that Jimin fell silent after hearing Jungkook's words, then looked down helplessly. The atmosphere of the studio was suddenly quiet, whereas before it was boisterous with preparations. Not long after, someone saw Jimin leave the studio area alone, towards a black car without license plates parked in a narrow alley. The car left the scene at around 21:45 p.m. Driver's name remains a mystery. Is it the agency's confidant, Jungkook's personal security, or someone from a third party who has an interest? Everything remains an enigma. More surprisingly, it wasn't just the verbal incident, but Jungkook's attitude afterwards. Instead of helping the search, Jungkook disappeared from the social media radar. The last time she uploaded something on Instagram stories at 22.10, it was just a backstage photo without a caption. No captions, no emojis, just a faint silhouette of studio lights. To this day, the caption is still questionable. What is the hidden message behind the portrait? The fans wondered, was it a sign that Jungkook was feeling guilty, or, on the contrary, was trying to cover his tracks? It all feels like part of a complex communication strategy, or often abbreviated, an unexpected narrative strategy, HYB, as BTS's parent agency finally issued an official statement in the morning after the news of Jimin's disappearance skyrocketed in cyberspace. It was brief, but serious. We understand the concerns of fans. At present, the management team is making every effort to ensure Jimin's safety. Please be patient waiting for more information. The word "every effort" is repeated 3 times in one paragraph, giving rise to allegations by various parties that the situation is much more complicated than simply missing from the schedule. The agency added that internal issues between members are normal, but when emotions are high, sometimes the unexpected can happen. This statement seems to be trying to calm the public uproar, but it only fuels the question. Is HYB trying to cover up something bigger? Jimin's family also raised their voices, although there were minimal details. A source close to the family said Jimin's parents were on their way to Seoul from Busan, a quick effort to help with the search. They reached the studio where Jimin was last seen, but the real clue is gone. And Uncle Jimin had given a brief statement. "We are very worried. I hope Jim comes home safely." The concern is clearly captured in the short footage that is spread across the Weverse platform, a place where families and fans can interact directly. Hours later, the video footage was deleted without any further explanation, adding to the sense of mystery surrounding the case. In the virtual world, the temperature of tension peaks. The hashtag #manajimin is now the top trending topic on Twitter in Indonesia, Thailand, Brazil, and the United States. Fans flocked to spread conspiracy theories. Some claim to have seen Jimin at a traditional market in Incheon the night before, carrying a large backpack. Others duplicated CCTV on the route to the fishing village of Apareceu location that was later confirmed as the last point Jimin's cell phone caught signal. Rumors swirled. Jimin ran away to protect a certain secret, or he was deliberately hidden to prevent worse from happening to his career. For some of the army, the rumors were too painful to accept, so they chose to wait for official clarification rather than get caught up in wild speculation. But there is also an online community that puts forward another theory more extreme, that Jungkook may have been involved in a breach of contract, so Jimin felt he had to disappear to protect the good name of the group. Others even accused the interference of third parties, people who want to destroy BTS's reputation by provoking internal conflicts. Although there is no concrete evidence yet, rumors like this are shaking the foundations of trust built over more than a decade. Some fans began to doubt HYB's transparency strategy, accusing the agency of being too slow and too secretive. On the other hand, some loyal fans defended Jungkook, stating that he was only doing the right thing as a teammate who was worried about Jimin's decision that might be self-defeating. Hours after the widespread search, local police released an official statement. Preliminary investigation results showed that Jimin's phone was last detected in a fishing village called Sipora in the western region of Incheon. As soon as this piece of information was released, almost all South Korean media immediately sent down a team of reporters to the field. Sipora, which is known as a traditional fishing village with soothing sea views, suddenly became a magnet for thousands of journalists, security officers, agency security guards, and fans who are willing to travel for hours in search of traces of Jimin. The village is about 50 kilometers from downtown Seoul. To reach Sapporo, one must travel overland to the mouth of the Han River, then cross by small boat. The pattern of life in Sapporo is very simple. Locals usually look for fish in the morning, sell at the local market, and then return to catch fish until dusk. The village has no star hotels, only a few small inns, food stalls, and grocery stores. When news of Jimin's involvement spread, the Sapporo community was stunned. Imagine a K-pop star whose every move is followed by millions of pairs of eyes suddenly appears unannounced among the rows of wooden boats owned by village fishermen. Mysterious sightings on the banks of the pier at 6:30 a.m. local time. A middle-aged fisherman named Pak Gennady claimed to have seen a figure similar to Jimin sitting pensively at the end of the pier. "I just came back from the sea, saw him sitting with his back to me. His body looked weak, like there was a heavy burden on his shoulders," said Pak Gennady while holding back Haru. He immediately approached, offering a pack of rice packets, but the figure just stared at the sea, without a word. When Mr. Gennady tried to touch the figure's shoulder, he turned around. For a moment the gaze seemed empty, as if thinking of 1,000 reasons not to say anything. He then retreated slowly, and in the next second, the figure disappeared, as if the wind lifted Jimin's body from the dock. This report was recorded in the Sapporo village police minutes, but it is still necessary to verify the authenticity of the video, which is claimed to have been taken by a young man named Hanif. Hanif claimed to have recorded the incident with his Redmi phone, but when the video was first going to be uploaded on Twitter, Hanif received a mysterious threat: "Don't leak the video, or you will regret it." Although in the end Hanif still uploaded a short 12-second clip, the image quality was blurry and did not show Jimin's face clearly, only a silhouette in a black jacket, swept by the sea breeze. The video is then filled with scathing comments and full of sadness. "That's Jimin, right? Why is his face so pale?" wrote one of the accounts with thousands of followers. Another account commented, "I'm willing to go to Sapporo if it's true Jimin. Doane, hope it's okay." An ongoing search. Local police, assisted by the HYB security team, immediately closed access to the pier and interviewed all fishermen who were on site at the time of the incident. They also checked simple lodging records at Sapporo, but none of the guests checked in under Jimin's name or using false identities. In manager, Ibu City, said, "Throughout this week there are no strange guests. No one looks like a celebrity. I'm not surprised it was Jimin." A similar statement came from Pak Hassan's street food stall, who claimed not to have seen himself eating alone in the stall, which was later recorded on CCTV by his brother. So, apart from the figure on the dock, no one can confirm that Jimin has ever interacted with the locals. Meanwhile, rescue and SAR teammates in Incheon tried to comb the mangroves near Sapporo Beach. "We found traces of small-sized shoes on the edge of the forest, but it cannot be ascertained that it belongs to Jimin. They, HYB, brought samples of Jimin's original shoes to compare, but the results have not come out yet," said Lee Sang-woo, a SAR member. The investigation drew both sympathy and public concern. How did a K-pop idol end up in a remote mangrove forest amid often unpredictable weather? Strong winds from the sea coast, high tides at night, plus unpaved land routes made the search team have to be extra careful. Many were worried that if Jimin really fell into a swamp or was trapped between mangrove trees, he might need medical help as soon as possible. Psychological pressure and group dynamics, not only physical search. Rumors also touched the psychological aspect of Jimin. Some anonymous sources in a close circle stated that recently Jimin has been seen often gloomy, and even several times he was caught in tears during rehearsals of a new choreography. "He looks different, not like the Jimin we used to know. It's as if there's a heavy burden that he can't share with anyone," said a BTS assistant dance coach who did not dare to be named. This confession adds a layer of mystery. Was the argument with Jungkook really as intense as the news circulated? Or maybe there were other pressures, contract pressure, social pressure, to family pressure that made him feel cornered? After so many years at the peak of popularity, Jimin's every step is always accompanied by public attention. He is described as a sincere person, always smiling and friendly to anyone. But now, it is possible that the image of the perfect person will soon be torn down by the vile reality behind the scenes. Entertainment industry observers say many celebrities have at some point felt choked by public expectations. They are loved, but sometimes encouraged to cover up any form of self-doubt, anxiety, or other personal problems. If Jimin decides to disappear, this could be his way to find himself again. On the other hand, Jungkook, who is revered as a talented magnate, was also dragged by the flow of negative rumors. Is it true that Jungkook made a secret disclosure that could potentially destroy Jimin's reputation? Or is there precisely another agenda behind the conversation, veiled aggression between group mates who have seemed harmonious so far? However,